Fencing that goes out to, let's see, I think that's 2nd Avenue down there, because we don't want, obviously, we don't want vehicle traffic coming through, because this is the finish line. We also have fencing that we're putting up on 5th Avenue. Then we have fencing that we put on 4th Avenue, where we block off things. The race course actually starts on 4th, as you know. I've already said that. Early Sunday morning, okay, so the work starts tomorrow morning around 7 to 8-ish, and we're going to have forklifts, we're going to have big trucks, we're going to have a lot of steel stuff, cranes, because we have to, set up all the support structures and set up the perimeter. We have to do that. It's going to take probably till 8 or 9 o'clock tomorrow evening to actually finish what we can do tomorrow. And then on Sunday at Oh Dark Ugly, and I translate that to somewhere between 3 and 4:30 a.m. Well, 5 o'clock the show really starts, but people start showing up to work the event around 4:30 in the morning, just because we still have setup to do. And then at 5 o'clock, not only the volunteers, but a lot of race participants start coming down here, because you can imagine when you're about ready to run a marathon, and I have run marathons, you have all the things going through your mind about anxiety, performance anxiety. Can you do it? I mean, it's quite an event. It's a mindset. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to take questions in a couple of minutes. So what happens, then we have 14,000 participants starting the race. The race starts right on schedule. 6:59 a.m. we have our wheelchair participants take off. At 7 o'clock, the main field starts, and it takes about 20-25 minutes to clear the field. Now, can you hear me? Are you still hearing me? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Just yell if you can.
Speak up.
Okay, I don't want to yell into these things, but...
Yell into them.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Okay, there we go, that's it. And this is it.
They're not the best.
You got it.
Can you talk about the options that are on the table?
Yeah.
Okay, we, as I say, traditionally, this entire area is off limits unless for some reason you need to be in here. There's going to be a lot of structures in here. We set up our communications equipment, which are in trailers. Big, huge trailers are hauled in here because that's where we have our communications. And obviously, to manage an event like this, you have to be in communication. In fact, that's the key to all success, in my opinion. So that's going to be busy here all day long with fencing being put up. Now, what are the alternatives? Well, there are a couple. This is a red zone for us. We have medical tents set up over there by the old federal building. Okay. Okay. We're going to be setting up medical tents. We're going to be hauling in large dumpsters. We're going to have semi-trucks coming in here. We park semi-trucks up on 4th Avenue. The reason we have to keep this area secure is because when the finishers cross the line, they actually go through a corridor system. Okay? The loved ones do not meet them until they get to that end. Okay? Busby Point. Good. All right, but they're heading southbound, which means they go there and then they have to turn right. They have to go up the 4th Avenue. They have to go through the lane that we have for them, and we have to keep them moving. Because it's critical for those people to just keep moving. We can't let them stop until they're over on Salmon and down where the family reunion area is. So it's a traffic control and safety issue. Okay, and so the options are effectively this. Okay. I see you're all set up in Chapman Park, and we can accommodate that. Obviously, our first request, and I know you guys support the Portland Marathon. It's a great thing. I mean, it's a community event, and we're all part of the community. We appreciate that. In fact, for those of you who may want to volunteer, we actually have a couple of aid stations. I'm not kidding, actually. But, we can talk about that later. The point is, our preference would be for you to not be in the red zone during race day. if you want to help us in the best fashion you could, that would be our request. Now, I understand that's a request, okay? We're telling you what we have to do in order to maintain the safety of everybody. And we don't want you guys getting hurt tomorrow if, you know, with the swirl of work going on, you know, but we can live together. That's, you know, if that's what you decide to do, we will work it out. Now, what we come up with is we have to secure Chapman Park. Okay, so if you're in Chapman Park, what we would plan on doing is setting up an ingress and egress, an exit thing, and tomorrow it's not that big a deal. On Sunday, though, as I understand it, we would have people from your group here assisting people from our group, because we're going to have to escort you out, okay? Because this whole area is a secure zone and nobody... Because of the security and safety of everybody concerned, we're going to have a lot of people down here. They're going to be at least, you know, we don't know how many spectators, but we estimate somewhere in the neighborhood of 8,000 to 10,000 in the you know, core downtown area. Then you add the runners, then you add the volunteers, and you've got, all of a sudden you have a lot of folks down here, okay? And we want you guys to cheer on the Portland Marathoners as much as anybody else, because we're all here in this together. I know you will. Thank you. Thank you. We have to use blackout curtains, okay? We have used blackout curtains for 28 years. We still have to use blackout curtains. Safety requires it, because we cannot afford to have traffic impacted with people stopping and not moving along and taking care of themselves. Remember, these people just ran 26.2 miles, and most of them are probably out of their minds before they registered. So, yeah, I can speak to that. I've done it. And they pay for this, really. Wow. Okay, go figure. Anyway, so we would have to escort you out. And the place we would set up the gate, effectively, is what it would be, is y'all could stay in the park, and if you want to leave the park, you can go up to Madison is the street just south of here, and we would set it up so that you could get out of the park. Now the problem is getting back in the park. If you leave the park at a certain hour, it'd be, you know, you couldn't really get back in much before, oh, I don't know, later in the afternoon on Sunday. And the reason for that is because usually we don't even have an ingress and egress area over there, okay? It's just, I mean, it's just fenced off to protect the park and to keep everybody else doing what they're supposed to be doing as part of the event. So, you know, we're willing to accommodate and work with you on that.
Thank you.
You know, because we're all, you know, this is a community event. We're all citizens of the same community, and it's about quality of life. And that's why you guys are here. It's because we're talking about a quality of life here, okay? And the fact that we want to maintain that. And so we want to work with you. I mean, we're just citizens like the rest of you. So, I guess that's as much as I can actually yell out over a microphone. I can take questions if I... Pardon? Okay.
Do you want to go?
Let's just maybe just open
Somebody's
it
going to have to hold them up.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk into these so that
Can I have one of those for the exact protection crowd? Can I borrow one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Mic check.
Mic check.
I have some questions. That folks raised earlier. To give to the Portland Marathon. There are six. And once we get through them, we'll open it up to questions. Okay? Okay. Question number one. Will the machinery tomorrow affect the campsite area?
Peripherally, it probably will have some impact because we have to, we stage everything, okay? So they drive the trucks in, they have to haul off all the fencing and stuff, and they pile it, okay? So I've seen piles of stuff. Plus we have pallets of equipment that come in on the trucks that'll be parked along Madison, in addition to the dumpsters. And so the impact, it won't be impacted in terms of inside the park on the grass where, you know, you guys are living and so forth. But it will impact the perimeter because that's where the fence goes up. So to that extent, it's going to impact it. Plus, I'm going to ask you to be very cautious because there are going to be forklifts driving around and people paying attention to building stuff, and so they may not be as attentive to people walking around them. Obviously, we try to be as safe as we can, but we would encourage you to also be mindful if you're going to be here. Okay? So that's how it would impact.
I was had the opportunity to talk to one of the folks from your group, and the concern about this was directed at the yellow ropes that are inside the park. They were concerned that it would tear down.
Closer. No, closer. This side, closer there. Really close to the mouth.
There were some concerns that the machinery would impact the ropes that are strung inside the park. The machinery and the equipment and all the things we're doing start at the grass line and around the park. So there's nothing that goes inside the park, and those ropes, and when you know they're not in danger.
I'm going to combine two questions. Okay. Will there be possible re-entry on Sunday?
Will there be possible re-entry on Sunday?
For our medics?
For our medics?
And necessary food supplies.
And necessary food supplies.
The simple answer is, I mean, if they're medics and people need medical care, obviously 911 is still available. As far as if you leave, the problem we have is we can't tell the difference between you folks and anybody who wants to get into the secure zone because they think they need to get to their loved one or whatever. And we've never allowed that. It's for their safety that we maintain them over by 3rd and Taylor because people really aren't paying attention to what they're doing after a race, and neither are the loved ones. So it's going to be, we're closing it down. If you leave, that's fine. You can't get back into the secure compound until after we start tearing it down. What time do we start tearing it down? In this area over here, things start lightening up about mid-afternoon, I'd say. I mean, I can't tell you specifically where they tear down and which fence, but I'd say between 3 and 4 you'll be able to get back in. Obviously, medical emergencies are taken very seriously. That should be evidenced by the fact that we have a medical tent, but it's only triage, okay? And we have a couple of ambulances, but again, those are for the participants. And there are actually city protocols, which I don't even understand, related to that issue. You know, it has to do with Fire Bureau and so forth and so on. So I'm not going to go beyond that. So if you leave the park, I'd say there's a 99.9% likelihood you can't get back into it until after the event is winding down.
There was one question about whether medics could set up a medical assistance area outside of the compound. I discussed that with Jimmy from your group, and that's something that, people going outside on public streets, that's something that is outside the compound, our red zone, and we're not opposed to that. It's a decision that the medics can make if they need more space. And that's really up to the medics so they can have working room.
We're obviously going to work cooperatively. Again, a medical situation is a medical situation. You got to take care of business.
What about food? Yeah, food.
Well, as far as food goes, you might want to, if you're going to be in the park, and you're going to be in the park, you might want to think about that tomorrow. Because on Sunday morning, this place will be a secure zone from bright and early until later in the afternoon. And it's going to be very hard at that point. So you might want to think about that before get supplies and so forth and stock up.
Is there any way we can get a few set people to have the credentials to come in and out?
Wait, no. We're not doing questions right now, sir.
Wait. We'll take individual questions second.
Which last one?